Okay, Ray, we're back with State Representative candidate Ray Pilon. Next question, why the legislature? Why are you interested in running for the legislature?
Well, the legislature, I think, is the next step in my public service career, because I think that we need better representation for the district, for the county, and for the region. And I think that I'm the guy to take that message up there. A lot of things that need to be done, and it really, in the current job that I have, I'm in and around that quite a bit, dealing with the water management district and so forth. I see the challenges, and I'd like to put my experience and my long tenure in this community to work.
The district for the last 3 years has been represented by Keith Fitzgerald. Specifically, you know, he's the incumbent. Why are you running against Keith?
Because I think I can represent the district better than he can. I think that my context in the community, the fact that I have been a local elected official, which I think is one of the gaps between Tallahassee, is a gap between the local governing boards, which city commissions, county commissions, school boards. I think there's a lot of work that can be done there, so that we're not talking about just unfunded mandates and demands from Tallahassee with no dollars. I think we need to create that, and I don't think that's been done, and it's one of the goals I want to work on.
So you think that Keith Fitzgerald, by going directly into the legislature from a college professor, that he didn't have experience in local government like you did, and that's an advantage that you have?
Well, it's obvious. I mean, the fact is that he hasn't. He was on a planning commission. I understand that, but you know, tenure is tenure. Nothing against the good professor. He is a professor in the area, and I understand a very good one. But as far as being a legislator, I think that I can represent the district better. And what I want to do is take the next few months, and we've got quite a few months, to bring that message to this community and to let them know what we can do better with better representation.
Let's talk about the district itself before we get to any issues. This particular district is the northern half of Sarasota, and Laura Benson ran for it twice. The paper always reports that there are more registered Republicans than Democrats, but in my view, a lot of them are soft Republicans. They're Republicans who they voted for Obama, they voted for Barbara Ford Coates. They cross over. What is going to be? How are you going to get some of those Republicans to stay home?
Well, I think that the crossover is going to be the other way. I think the crossover with the independents and some of the good friends that I've had for years that may be in an opposing party, because Ron, what I really want to do is represent. When I go to Tallahassee, I'm going to represent everybody in that district, and it is a diverse district, and that's when it was when I was a county commissioner, because that county commission district encompasses, you know, a good portion of what this legislative district covers. So I'm about the people that I'm going to represent, regardless of what party they are. Certainly they know that I'm a Republican. Certainly they know my background, but I'm going to try to, and I think we'll have some success in convincing people that I am the person that's going to represent everybody. Independents are there because they seem to be dissatisfied with both parties. So I'm anxious to give that message to folks of any party.
I want to get to some of the issues now. With the economy going kind of in the tank, the legislature has looked for a lot of different ways to raise money other than raising taxes. One of the ways that the governor has looked to help raise money for schools is expansion of gambling, and to have more slot machines, more card games at the local dog tracks, things like that. How do you feel about expanding and legalizing gambling to raise money for schools?
I'm not in favor of expansion of gambling, period. I think that when it comes to the Seminoles, if you want to talk about that a little bit, do we take advantage of the fact they're going to do it anyway, and should we then be able to have some type of benefit for the folks in Florida? Yes, because they can, unless we sue them, have those games anyway, and that would be a long and expensive battle. From a broad perspective, you know, if I go on a cruise ship or any place, and I don't even put money in the slot machine, if I do, it's maybe 3/4 or something, and it's not because of the gambling issue itself. I don't think it's a good way to raise revenue. I think there are other things that we have to address in this state to bring our taxes back into a basic fair system, and to generate new revenue in this great state of Florida, other than just grasping at straws.
Another bill that passed, which is somewhat controversial, and the reason why I ask you about this is to get an idea of where you stand on the issues, plus it could come up again, is the urban density bill that was passed. And I don't know where Representative Fitzgerald came down on it, maybe you do, but basically to allow developers to go into urban areas and to develop those areas without getting approval from the state regarding impacts and improving roads and things like that. Where do you stand on that?
Well, that's and that's what you read is kind of oversimplified. What Senator Bennett was doing at the time was trying to actually go back and reverse some of the problems of the original growth management bill that allowed for urban sprawl, even with the DRI processes. This 360 bill focused right on core urban areas. You hear Sarasota County all the time talking about revitalizing the urban core inside the urban service boundary. This gives some relief to concurrency issues that you really couldn't do in those tight areas. There's some things lacking, I think, that can be improved, and if it doesn't get improved next year, hopefully I can address that when I'm in Tallahassee in the next session after that, in dealing with there's always unintended consequences. What about credits or some type of funding mechanism for other forms of transportation? Again, I think we need to engage the stakeholders, which are the counties and the cities that are going to be involved.
Okay. We'll take our final break, and when we come back, we have 2 Weasels of the Week this week, and we'll have our last segment with Ray Pilon.